1 minute warning!
To the goofball army out there, hi the families, tell them to get to the next room, tell them to go to your neighbors, because we got goofball news to go over, and it might get crazy.
Typically does, guys. If it's your first episode ever, you got like 30 seconds before we start, so not enough time to go to the bathroom, but go get a drink, because trust me, you're probably going to need it there. In the meantime, the rest, if you haven't already, go ahead and hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell. That way you know about future episodes as well, guys. Buckle your seatbelts if you haven't already. Make sure your tray is in the upright position here, guys, because we are just about ready to get going. And like, oof.
Guys, if you want a crazy ride going forward, a bunch of nonsense, but all nothing but the truth about the Giants, listen in, buckle in, tell a friend.
Let's go.
And now, here are your goofball hosts, Drew and Rob.
Welcome, fellow goofballs, to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. I am Drew, joined as always by
me. Oh, Rob. Let's get this Winnie Pod on the road.
We're going mobile again?
We're going mobile again. Come on.
Hello,
Let's go.
mobile.
I mean, let's ride.
Oh, God. Can we do the let's ride thing? Is that the thing we have to do now because we're playing the Broncos?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And we got Russ revenge game. Dun, dun, dun.
This is the little Jordan Humphreys revenge game, if anything. He's at least going to play in the game. Hopefully, Russell Wilson is just sitting on the bench handing out beverages.
Yeah. Gatorade, water.
It sounds better when you say beverages. It sounds less like insulting. He's just handing out water. Oh, he's handing out beverages.
He's the water boy.
Water sucks. It really, really sucks.
No, it doesn't.
Gatorade.
How good it would be if he goes Bobby Boucher?
We could do a whole podcast on just like references to Water Boys. That's a spectacular football movie. Just absolutely hilarious. I love old school Sandler movies there. But yeah, guys, we got some news today. We got a couple of new Giants. We got some moves going that are suggesting maybe a new Giants coming. And also, we got a little rumor about what happened on draft day here, guys. And no, it was not Kevin Costner. It did not involve a birthday party of any kind. And of course, we got to go over our preview episode here for the Giants going into Denver to host to face, I should say, the Broncos this upcoming Sunday here. So let's get her started. All right, let's break right into it with news that came out of a different show, I should say, not even our show, but I'll give them the credit because they're saying they have sources here. Sources. Gary Meyer on ESPN New York radio interviewing Charlie Weis, which of course, former head coach for the Notre Dame football team, former offensive coordinator under, Bill Belichick back in the days, former, was he was on the Chiefs? Is he a Chiefs head coach? Remember right too? I think at one point.
I think so.
I don't know.
Good old Chiefs. I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway.
Anywho,
so yeah, he's on the show and they're talking about the Giants and football in general. And it came up that Gary Meyer says, "Hey, I got sources that tell me point blank that apparently Brian Daboll he liked Jaxson Dart so much he wanted to draft him at number 3 overall. And the only reason it didn't happen is because he got shot down by Joe Schoen. And I got to say that listen, I know Jaxson Dart's having a really good start here, but that goes into my category of reasons I don't like Brian Daboll.
Yeah, talk about shooting your load early.
Yeah, if it's true, we haven't heard anything on our end of that, but that's somebody willing to put it out there on radio saying, "Hey, I got sources. They told me this." Like he definitely takes a chance of egg in his face if he doesn't have any kind of source in this whatsoever. Now, can also say this: Charlie Weis's son, Charlie Weis Jr., is the quarterback's coach over at Ole Miss. So obviously he knows some things as well. And he basically was all on it. Yeah, Daboll wanted him bad. Like that was all confirmed by him at that point. But to think he'd want him at 3, That's a little insane.
Yeah. I mean, were they going to get him in the back end, moving up the drafts? Probably the right move to get Dart where you want him. But yeah. At number 3, you get the best talent prospect.
Yeah, I mean,
you don't give that.
You're talking about Abdul Carter, who we got obviously at that pick. That is, well, we still to be decided what he is. Really, let's be honest here, but he has the potential to be a really great pass rusher. Meanwhile, Jaxson Dart, nobody had a top 5 pick grade on him. The only thing I can say to Daboll's defense is no one had a top 5 grade on Bo Nix, who we'll face this weekend, obviously. Nobody had a top 5 grade on, Michael Penix, except maybe us. But, no one thought it was going to go down that way. Like, look at how quickly these quarterbacks go. So I can get where if, Daboll's that hell-bent on, hey, I need to get me some Jaxson Dart. He's my quarterback. And
especially after last year's draft.
And that's what I'm saying. And he's like, look what happened last year. Take your shot because I don't care how. And listen, I know this is kind of a BS thing, but it's the truth. That if you think about it, though, it's a horrible way to think. But it's let's say hypothetically, Abdul Carter is a Pro Bowler. Let's just throw that out there for a minute. Okay, he's a Pro Bowl caliber player. If Jaxson Dart's even an above average quarterback, which again, jury's still out on both those guys. I don't think it's safe to have a full opinion on those guys, at a few games into the season here. But if he's just an above average, not a Pro Bowl guy, but above average, you would take him in a heartbeat over a Pro Bowl pass rusher.
Yes.
There's positional value. So, I don't know. It's I don't know if it's true. Again, we haven't heard anything on our side, so I'm not going to sit here and say that we're saying it's true. I haven't heard a damn thing on it. But it's interesting because it also shows a little bit dynamics between Daboll and Joe Schoen here, because Joe Schoen didn't just give him what he wanted. He went ahead and said, no, not going to do it. But I'll go back in and get your guy. I'll go get your guy. You just got to trust me to do that. And I'm going to get my guy and your guy if we can get this done this right.
Yeah. Which you don't want to give much kudos to those two guys right now, but that shows a unity with them working together. And
depending on how it was. I will say that because we weren't in the room for that. Was Daboll flipping out, acting like his baby was in a medical tent? I'm just saying, we don't know the scenario. I gotta say that Daboll doesn't strike me as the usual calm person who doesn't get his way.
It depends.
Yeah, I would have loved to just be in a fly in the room and see if that actually went down and how it went down.
I'm sure. That conversation wasn't had at draft. It was done way before then.
Yeah.
So it was they're probably sitting in a board meeting and, Dave was like, I want this guy. This should be our number 3 draft pick. And Dave was like, you whack. We'll draft it up. We'll trade it up. But
yeah,
number 3 goes to the best talent.
Yeah. And that's what we did. I like what we did in this draft still. Like I said, jury still had the 2 big names, obviously, but I like what we did. And I think that we got a guy who's got a potential to be a great player. You see flashes for Abdul Carter with the pass rush ability. And you do see, obviously, what they like about Jaxson Dart. He's the toast of the town right now. Now,
yeah.
Time will tell, though, is he Jeremy Lin or Patrick Ewing? I'm just going to throw that out there. We don't know. That's why, I know I get called negative. It's not that I'm negative on Jaxson Dart. I'm not. I love what I see so far. But I'm realistic. It's early. The jury's still out. So, let's see what he becomes.
My biggest takeaway with Dart, too, is a lot of things we looked at college and we're like, oh, he holds on to the ball too much. He does that at times still. But
yeah.
But you see him, not, we said not able to read defense. I guess he couldn't read against the Saints, but he really has made progression.
Yes.
So to knock that pick is
And
I see that could be Daboll's guy. So I see his argument to a point, but at number 3 overall.
And that's why I'm saying I think based on what he's done, if he was the number 3 overall pick hypothetically, and he did so far what he's done so far, we wouldn't be upset. Let's be very frank about that. But where he was at, I don't think they're wrong in their thought process. Like nobody was as high as him as they were apparently. Like that's most people had a second round grade on him. So, unfortunately, it's partially a product because of where he came from. So, like I said, I'm glad it worked out the way it did. I like the trade for Jaxson Dart. We didn't give up a ton to get back into that first round to go get him. We got a 5th round option on him now if need be. We still got Abdul Carter, who again we don't know what he is yet, but he's shown some flashes. I know some people are getting a little frustrated with him, but he's shown flashes and still some really good plays. It's just a matter of completing the sack, and he's gotten so close so many damn times. It's not even funny. So. Like I said,
yeah.
I thought that was an interesting tidbit to come out of that show, and I'm wondering still if it's even true. But if it is, it's kind of interesting that they weren't on that same page though too, because everybody always thinks of them as simpatico because of them being both from Buffalo and all, and it's just it's odd. I don't know,
Yeah.
So. Well, like I said, we'll find out. Maybe some more stuff comes out of that. Maybe he starts showing sources that other people say, I'm not so sure about that. You never know. Might happen. Depends on the source. So, all right, let's talk about guys that are Giants. Because the juice is back. And no, not O.J. Simpson, obviously. Juice Wells back again with the Giants officially. Also, linebacker Jonas Griffith as well. Now, both were added to the practice squad because with Hewitt, the linebacker, being elevated again last week, he's out of times to elevate him overall at the practice squad, so he's officially out of the roster. Jude Mekatomi, also the kicker, also added to the active roster. We talked about that are happening last week. So we got 2 empty spots to fill, so that's who fills it. Going to be interesting to see what happens with Juice Wells because obviously we know he's got rapport with Jaxson Dart from playing with him at Ole Miss. We talked about that during the training camp, and he was there with us. Didn't look great, I thought, in training camp, but he did some things. I mean, didn't get a lot of shots, I feel like, either necessarily to a certain degree.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, practice squad is right around where you need to be with him, but it's at the same time.
Yeah. I'll tell you this.
At the same time.
He looks better than Bo Collins already.
Yes, he does. And you know what? It's also better? Not having a 53-man roster.
Yeah. But I think Juice Wells is the guy. I'd actually am kind of curious if they do end up calling him up because if he's in good shape and he kept himself in good shape while he was out of the league there for a few weeks, which I got to imagine he did. The Giants wouldn't have re-signed him. They would have said, "Hey, get back in shape. We'll look at this again in a couple of weeks." But they bring him on. He goes in. He knows the playbook. He has rapport with Jaxson Dart. He's the perfect guy to sign off the streets and go ahead and bring back to this roster. And let's be honest, we could use another receiver, guys. We could use another receiver. And like I said, I would take him over Bo Collins right now in a heartbeat. So I'm all for that. Linebacker Jonas Griffith is the other guy we signed there. Now, he's an interesting story. I'm going to say this. I don't have a foil hat to put on here, but we just signed a Broncos ex-linebacker as we're about to face the Broncos. Think about that for a moment.
Insider traded?
Yeah, exactly where I'm getting at. You don't think he knows a little bit of something about the Broncos defense? The verbiage, the packages, the personnel. Like, I don't know. I find that a little interesting. Now, I look, though, at what I see there at, what he's done in his career, though, and it's actually kind of an interesting pickup. I got to be honest. I didn't know much about this kid going into this when I first heard we signed him. But he was a backup linebacker for a couple of years for the Broncos. So he was UDFA from Indiana State, went to high school actually in Tenafly, New Jersey. There's actually, I think, 2 high schools he went to because one of them, Pro Football Reference, has him at Tenafly. Wikipedia has him at a different high school. So I think he probably split time because one of them was an academy, which is where you send kids that are really, really good at sports and you want to get them into the NFL, basically. So obviously that worked.
Typically, yeah.
But, you got first couple of years in the NFL, didn't do anything at all in 20, but bounced around practice squads and all. Finally lands on the Broncos 21-22. He played in 22 career games, 12 tackles, had 12 starts, 92 tackles, a pass deflected, interception, 4 tackles for loss, and 5 QB hits. So he was on like about 50% of the defensive plays, another 50% of the special team plays. He was, I don't want to say a star, but he was a decent part of their offense. I'm sorry, the defense. Kind of like the role we expected Darius Muasau to play for the Giants this year before the McFadden injury. That's probably the best way to give you guys an idea of the kind of role he played. Now 23 rolls around, and he tears his ACL in 2023 in August during training camp. So the whole season gone. August 2024 rolls around, and they were going to cut him. Rumor was, when I saw that they were planning on putting him on the practice squad, giving him more time to kind of get back from the injury and everything, they still liked him a lot. So they go to cut him. He clears waivers. There's for those kind of behind the scenes, there's a like cutting physical, so to speak, that they do in that scenario where you got to verify everything's good to go and there's no injury settlements or anything like that, kind of make sure it's a clean break. Well, they found more issues with his ACL again. So when that happened, he now is on the IR, out for the year again with the ACL injury. But it's kind of related to that first one. It's not a tear. It's, hey, we found more damage. They didn't quite get fixed that first surgery. That makes sense. So, not a normal scenario. And Sean Payton was pretty upset about the time. He said, this is tough. It's tough on him and tough on everyone. We went through the process. He went through the process of being released. And then that's what's a little bit unusual in his post-exam. They discover more of an issue with his ACL. It wasn't one event specific. In the end, there'll be an injury settlement, which is pretty common. What isn't common is finishing the preseason playing like he did, and then discovering this is a little bit more significant than we thought. We're going to certainly do right by the player and take care of him. He's someone that's busted his tail here for the better part of 2 years trying to stay healthy. So, I mean, Sean Payton definitely spoke highly of him, and he's been out of the league now for a few years, healing up from this ACL. So if he is healthy per se, and I don't know, I wasn't there for the medical, but I got to imagine Giants brought him in, Giants signed him. He's got to be healthy. You'd hope so, at least.
You would hope so.
You don't usually sign injured players. And
I mean, I wouldn't put it past Giants.
We just wanted the Broncos inside information.
Yeah.
It's like
inside trading here.
You sign a player who showed to be I don't want to say he's a great player or star, but he showed to be a legitimate NFL talent for the Broncos a couple of years ago. And he's still 28 years old. So you get him when he's, still in the prime of his career, so to speak. And maybe he does provide a little bit of something for us in the defense. Can't hurt it, that's for sure. We are desperate for linebackers, guys. And one thing I loved, and I saw this on TikTok of all places. When he got signed, he came home and his family put like Giants balloons all over his house and everything to celebrate the fact that he's back in the NFL. He gets me right here. Like it was a nice thing.
Right in the cackles.
You could tell how excited he was, guys. And I just love that when you see like true emotion out of a player like that. And it reminds you, like, hey, like, because we do this all the time ourselves. Obviously, we talk, oh, Hyatt's trash. This person's trash. Whatever. These are real people. And to see a guy busting chopped for years to get back into the NFL, and now he's got a chance to do that. That's awesome. So I know we'll be definitely rooting for this kid because I just love that kind of story of like, because I think a lot of people would have given up point blank. I think about it, he hasn't played in an NFL game since 2022. He's 25. 3 years later. Yeah. Most people would have given up. That shows a lot personality wise. So, and like I said, we'll see what happens though, because he's on the practice squad. We don't have any knowledge of him coming up or anything like that. But considering all the injuries I've had to linebacker this year, you never know. You never do.
Never know.
In the realm of things, you never know.
Good segue there.
The Giants are creating cap space.
Clean up the money.
Now, 2 deals got restructured today. Jevon Holland and Paulson Adebo, both guys in the secondary, signed this offseason. The deal created an additional $4.8 million in cap space. Now, that put the Giants just over $5 million in cap. Now, there's reports going on. I know Connor Hughes, friend of the show from SNY, has said, I'm expecting the Giants to be very active. They are being active towards bigger names. He said bigger names specifically is what they're trying to be active with. That doesn't mean they're trying to go get Isaiah Hodgins. It means they're trying to get, and again, I'm not going to throw specific names as if these are guys that are definitely calling on, but the bigger names would be the Chris Olaves, the Jalen Waddles, the Jerry Judys, the Jacoby Myers, those kind of guys. Like they're trying to get a legit NFL talent here. CBS NFL Insider Jonathan Jones said, I do think the Giants could absolutely make a move before the November 4th trade deadline. So he's also hearing things as well. So, we'll see. It all depends on what people want. But I will throw this into the mix. $5 million, guys, is not getting a Jalen Waddle.
No. Not at all. But I did hear that they might be looking at Rashid Shaheed. Rashid. Yeah. Rashid Shaheed.
Had an 85-yard touchdown against us with the Saints there, and that's another name being thrown out there as well.
Because you get him on a rookie deal, so it's not that costly.
Yeah, but I'm saying $5 million is not getting you massive. And I honestly think the only reason this move was made today was to create cap space in general. We just talked about we signed 2 players to the practice squad. Well, guess what? What if they get
costs
called
money?
Up? Everything costs money. Nothing is free. And we'll have to see what happens overall. I mean, I do think they're trying to add somebody. I just don't know who that person is going to be, and I don't think it's going to be a high price guy still.
No.
I think if that was the case, they would have waited to make this move because they would have freed up more than $4.8 million. Like it's going to take more to get one of the bigger names. That's just the life of what it is. So, but it's interesting because, like I said, it shows you at least that they're anticipating a move. Whether it's that move or not, they're anticipating a move. And it could be just minor moves they make throughout the season. They want a little breathing room. But they're at least thinking. They're planning ahead. I at least like that part about it. Regardless of what happens, they're planning ahead. That's not something you say about the Giants very often.
There's a plan.
Yes.
They're going to initiate it.
But there's a plan. It's a mystery wrapped up in enigma, smothered in secret sauce. Anthony says Rashid Shaheed is $4.45 million. Yes, but I don't think he's even that necessarily at this point because keep in mind, if he's on the 4th year of his rookie deal, I know that part.
You also got to figure it too. You're a third way through the season, so you're not paying that full price. You're paying 2/3.
Exactly. So his cap number is 4.45 is his cap number this year. There's a prorated signing bonus of $250,000, so it's 4.2. That's where you're at now. So just to give you guys the boring math here, real quick, so 4.2 divided by 17, we're going to be at 6 weeks at the end of this, which would be 11 games left. So hypothetically, after this game, if the Giants traded for him, they'd owe him $2.72 million. That's so.
Football math, that's not much.
The room is there for that. And like I said, I don't know if that's the move. I think it's a little bit of an odd move to make to go with the speedy guy. I would want more of the big possession receiver. I think that would match up better with what Jaxson Dart does and what this team needs overall. But you get what you get.
Especially look what he did with Lil Jordan. Started looking good last week. So you would figure not saying he's available, maybe a guy like Juju Smith-Schuster, someone's a little bigger.
Kenny Galladay, he's still available. He's unsigned.
That's a name that's not to be named.
Sad that he never got a contract or a chance to play again after the Giants. That's how bad we ruined him.
He ruined himself. That dude took a paycheck and ran.
I think it was he didn't run. That was part of the problem. But I think it was a dual blame, to be honest with you, on that one there. Oh my gosh. All right, guys. We're going to pay the bills real quick. We're going to come back and we're going to do our preview here of the Giants Broncos this upcoming weekend here. We'll be right back.
Thanks for watching. Like the show? Of course you do, or you would have turned it off by now and not be hearing me. There are plenty of ways to support the show. YouTube is the best place to join us, and we offer memberships there with fun benefits like custom emojis and early access to video clips. Of course, there you can also send super chats and stickers to send one-time support payments. The best way to support the show is to buy these drunk idiots beers at buymeacoffee.com/2giantgoofballs. Along with one-time support payments, there are also monthly plans, so you can continue to help kill their livers each month. You can also show people that you are a goofball by visiting our store at 2giantgoofballs-shop.fourthwall.com. We got everything from shirts, hats, phone cases, funny candles, buttons, stickers, and even a 2 Giant Goofballs towel to dry off your goofballs. Of course, you can always support the show for free by simply hitting the like, subscribe, and share button wherever you are watching or listening to this. Hit the thumbs up on YouTube. Leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. It helps the show tremendously, and quite frankly, the goofballs suck at marketing and need your help to get the word out. Thank you for being part of the Goofball Army and for taking the time out to support the show.
Up. Make fun of Rob for being late. Let's make fun of him. Boo, you're late.
Boo.
As Anthony says, I'm so glad. I also appreciate the math there, Drew. My dumbass wasn't going to do it. That's why I know I just do that to show people, because I think some people look at the salaries and they don't understand. Like it is a game check. Like literally, when they say game check, you get a check when you play a game. So you don't have to worry about that part of the salary anymore. You don't have to worry about the signing bonus proration, because that's still on the Saints either way. So, like I said, that's where the numbers are. If it's $2.72 million to get him, that's not too shabby. I just don't know if he's the guy that's the right fit based on what we have already. I think he's more of what we already have.
Yeah.
As
We need another Wandale.
Having Olive Garden breadsticks. More
them,
please.
Yeah. More Parmesan, please. More. Yeah. More olive oil, please.
More olive oil, please. No, there's a whole song about more Parmesan, please.
Well, I'm just saying, breadsticks, bro. I don't care about your song. I care about the breadsticks.
I care about both. All right, let's talk about
this.
Olive,
give me that cheese. Give me that little pepper, red and black.
A gabagool.
Give me that gabagool.
Anyway, let's talk about the game coming up this weekend. Let's first meet the Broncos here, because we haven't played the Broncos, it feels like, in forever, guys. So, and this is a whole this is a whole new Broncos team from just a couple of years ago. Let's be honest. Like this has been a good turnover here. And Sean Payton, you got to give him credit. That guy has really turned things around. I said when they hired him, I wasn't sure if he was legit or not, because he never had the chance to win without Drew Brees. That wasn't necessarily a knock on him. It's just having Drew Brees does help you win. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if it was Drew Brees, it was Sean Payton, or a combo at the time. Well, based on what you see now with him, you can say it's probably a combo, because he's got this Broncos team rocking and rolling pretty good here, considering the talent level on the roster, that's for sure. So the Broncos they got basically average to slightly below average offense, basically, but they have an absolutely elite defense. So they average 21.7 points per game, as 20th in the league. They also average 337 yards per game in offense. That's 15th. Like I said, they're about average. They average 206.8 passing yards. That's just that's 16th, and a 64.56 completion percentage. That's 23rd. So again, passing's a little bit below average there. They are decent as far as interceptions, giving up interception of 1.94% of passes. That's 17th. They allow almost no sacks, guys. This is going to be a real matchup with our pass rush versus their offensive line there. They're allowing sacks in just 2.83% of passing plays. That's second best in the entire NFL. As this is one of the offensive lines that for some reason doesn't get the credit as one of the elite ones, but they're showing they're showing you they are. Bo Nix in the season, 133 of 206, 1,277 yards, 9 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions. His main receivers, Cortland Sutton, of course, been there a few years now. 27 catches, 382 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Troy Franklin, 24 catches, 250 yards, and a touchdown. And Menzel Mims Jr., 16 catches, 149 yards, and a touchdown. Now, at tight end, our old friend.
Hello, darkness.
My old friend. I've come to drop the football again. Evan Ingram, 17 catches on the season, 137 yards and 1 touchdown. So definitely not having the season he used to have back in Jacksonville, that's for sure. But let's be honest, we know what he is. He's a good pass catching tight end when he catches the pass. He still has a little bit of oopsie whatsies every so often. But, I unfortunately, his oopsie whatsies he had as a Giant were just at the worst possible time. And that made the fans think he had like the worst hands in the history of the NFL, basically.
But pretty much. Oh, you're in the red zone. You're in the end zone. Let's throw it to the tight end, and he drops it.
3rd and 10. I'm open at 12 yards and drop it.
Yeah,
like that. It is what it was. But like, God forbid, it was like 1st and 10. Evan Ingram, 5 yards. Got it. Like, It was always the big times that he dropped it. Like I said, I felt bad for the kid. I really did. I thought a change of scenery actually would do him well, and it did. Rushing wise, they're 10th at 4.6 yards per carry. They get 130.2 rushing yards per game. That's 7th best in the league. So they are above average, not quite elite, but above average at running the ball.
Yes.
J.K. Dobbins, 91 carries, 442 yards, 4.9 yards per carry average, and 4 touchdowns. Now, listen, Dobbins has been around for a while, guys. He has never had a year like this to start. Again,
it's an offensive line.
And that's why I'm stressing. You're dead right where I'm getting at here. The offensive line. I cannot stress how good this offensive line is enough. Rookie RJ Harvey at a UCF, who they drafted much earlier than I expected. He was like the 3rd or 4th running back taken in this draft. He's got 33 carries, 154 yards, and 4.7 yard per carry average. And Bo Nix does do a little bit of run as well. 33 carries, 124 yards, and a touchdown.
Yeah, and don't be surprised when Harvey takes over their one job towards the end of the year. That's what they're gearing.
Yeah, they took him early for a reason.
They're gearing him towards that, and this offensive line allows them to make some little mistakes. And this is a team that's more of a quote unquote run first.
Yes,
but this is also how they started last year. So let's not forget, Bo Nix could ball out. His second half last year is when he put up most of his numbers. They're very conservative with him in the first half of last year when he started, and they're very conservative with this year, first half.
I think, honestly, what he's doing right now is what he really is. And I think he's just an average starting quarterback in this league. And it's not a knock at him. Most players would love to be an average starting quarterback in this league. I just don't think he'll ever be elite. But I think he's just good enough with this kind of defense, a good running game, to get something going and potentially do something damage-wise in the NFL, that's for sure.
Oh, I'm not saying he's elite. I'm just saying how this offense is set up. It's like he still throw the ball. When you got one of the best offensive lines, anyone can throw the ball. Anyone that's made it through the draft can throw the ball.
Yes.
They give you the time. When you can take Dobbins, who I think was with the Ravens last year, averaged 3-1.
I think last year for the Chargers, if I remember correctly.
Oh yeah, Chargers last year, which he was probably under 3 per rush, and he was I think when he was with the Chargers, with the Ravens, he averaged low 3s.
So no. Actually, I'm looking at the stats right now because I'm looking it up to verify here. So last year he was with the Chargers. He had a 4.9 yards per average.
I think it's their foot.
But he only had, and I say, I'm sorry, 4.6. I'm sorry, I'm looking at the wrong year. This is this year, 4.9, 4.6 last year. But he only had a limited number of carries at 905 yards. But most of what he's known for is being injured. He missed all of 21. He played 8 games in 22, 1 game in 23, 13 games last year. And so far, he hasn't missed a game, so we'll see. But that's been his biggest issue. But like I said, think about, again, we'll do the math here for you. His yards per game right now is 73.7 is his average. So if he is hypothetically healthy the whole year, that put him at 1,252 yards this season. That's a pretty damn good year for running back.
Yeah.
So, again, offensive line. That's what it is. So... all right, let's talk about this defense because that's really where you really want to talk about when you talk about the Broncos because it's a goddamn elite defense. So they're allowing 15.8 yards, passing, 15.8 points per game, That's second best in the NFL. They're allowing 254.2 yards per game. That's also second best in the NFL. So absolutely crazy. Running wise, they're allowing 3.9 yards per carry. That's eighth best in the NFL. 89 rushing yards per game, sixth best in the NFL. They're allowing just 165.3 passing yards per game, third best in the NFL, and a 57.67 completion percentage, which is freaking ridiculous. That's like 1980s football, not like, the modern days close to 70. They also lead the league with sacks on 13.7% of passing plays. 13.7, guys. Like, that's insane. So, that is saying basically like every 6 pass attempts you're going to get sacked.
Yeah, and granted, they also had 9 against Justin Fields last week.
Yeah, but
which definitely helps that number out.
It does, but there's also been a ton of pass attempts in that game, which the number kind of averaged out a little bit. They kind of gave up on the run for some reason.
You're playing from behind, or the run's not working for you.
Fields passing is not going to ever work for you. But like I said, it's an interesting, concept. And they're already at the point where they're leading the league in sacks to the point where like they're the most sacks through 5 games than any other team, except one year the Kansas City Chiefs had the same exact number since 1990. So in 35 years, this is tied for the best start in the NFL in the last 35 years. That's how good it is.
Madness.
Absolute insanity. The really only knock on this defense, guys, is that they don't get a lot of interceptions. That's it. So I would say it should encourage, Jaxson Dart to be a little more aggressive potentially there. Not too aggressive. He is a rookie. There is that risk, obviously. But they get interceptions on just 0.53% of passing plays. 0.53. That's 29th in the league. That's the only knock on them. Everything else, doing damn good.
Also, the secondary doesn't get that much of an opportunity for the interception. Let's not think that way.
That's percentage. That's not how many interceptions. That percentage is on the pass. Yeah. That's why I like using percentages, because that shows you a more legit number.
But when you talk about sacks and pressures, there's target 2 with passes and plays, but how off was the pass to the receiver? Was it within receiving?
I don't think it's
that's where we're at.
Difference though. I don't think.
What are you talking about? How many times have you seen in the NFL a quarterback under pressure throw 5 yards over or under?
Yes, but what I'm saying,
not going to say that
29th to like number 1. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, no, I'm not saying that. But I'm saying
I can give you that argument, and you're right. But what I'm saying is maybe it'll put up to like 25 or 24. I mean, I don't have the exact numbers and pressures that cause. You have to go through each individual play to see what that would be number-wise. But I'm saying you still wouldn't have a ridiculous number,
Listen, even if they were average at that point, that's ridiculous.
This defense, guys, is point-blank stacked with really good players that somehow are not household names yet. And I think what's going to happen is if they can get in the playoffs, they can get a playoff run, all of a sudden it's going to be. Alex Singleton, the linebacker, 51 tackles so far. Keep in mind, 5 games, 51 tackles. The math is not difficult to figure out that I put him, about 173 on the season. Like, that's insanity. 1 sack, 2 tackles for loss, and 1 pass deflected. Big free agent pickup they got, Talua Hafunga, who was the safety for the 49ers that they got in free agency. He was one of the guys that we talked about. Actually, we did our free agency, potential show, for potential targets for the Giants. And we said point blank, if he's healthy, he could be the steal of this free agency. Well, 40 tackles, 1 sack, 2 tackles for loss, 4 passes deflected, and a forced fumble. And he's a safety, but they're putting him everywhere, absolutely everywhere. And you're going to see him sometimes lined up almost like a linebacker. You'll see him as a safety. You'll see them put him in coverage. Like, he will pop all over this field. So he's somebody to keep an eye on to see where he's at, because sometimes you get a player like that and you see where he's at, and it also tells you where they think the play is going on their end. Okay, they put the safety in a linebacker. Obviously, they think this is probably a passing play. They put him in coverage. Okay, well, they're thinking they're probably going to need a lot of guys for coverage at that point because they probably prefer to keep him back as a safety. You can see different things they do with him, and that'll probably give you a good idea of what the defense is looking to set up. So I'm hoping the Giants are smart enough to look at that kind of thing on play-by-play basis to figure out where he's at. The big thing, guys, though, is the sacks. Absolutely ridiculous.
Huge
Benito, who just got a big new contract this offseason, 8 sacks on the season, leading the NFL. Now, he's going to be going up against Andrew Thomas. That's going to be a fun matchup to watch. Like, Andrew Thomas has been legit and solidified this offensive line since he's been back. That's going to be interesting to watch. Jonathan Cooper, 4.5 sacks on the season. Justin Strnad, 3.5. And then John Franklin Myers, 3 sacks as well. So they have a lot of guys that are getting the quarterback at a really high rate there. Like, all of those guys, if you think about it, are on pace to do 10 sacks or more.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane. You don't typically get that very often. The only guy we have that hangs with that kind of number right now is Brian Burns, who is just below Benito at that point, basically. And we like to brag about our pass rush. This is a pass rush. This is a crazy test.
Hands down.
Yeah. Corners wise, they have some really good corners. So I got to say PFF has not been the nicest to them looking at their stuff. Patrick Surtain, the second Esquire, 64.7 PFF grade, 3-time Pro Bowler in the last 4 seasons. Obviously not counting this season, we're in the middle of it, but the first 4 seasons he's had full 3 Pro Bowl selections. Riley Moss, who was a 3rd-round pick a couple of years ago, is his opposite on the outside. He's got a 55.9 PFF grade. Now, he's the guy that if I'm the Giants, I'm going to target. Of the 3 guys, because we include slot corners as a starting corner a lot of times, he's probably I don't say the weakest link, because he's not like a bad player. It's just he's the weakest of those 3. You know what I mean? Jaquan McMillan is the other guy they have, a corner who's starting. He's a slot corner, 82.6 PFF grade. So that tells you, goddamn, he's doing down coverage there. And if Wan'Dale has problems against him, you may want to move Wan'Dale out of Moss on the outside. Because let's be honest here, we don't know what's going to happen with Slayton still fully. It's a team that, let's be honest, the Giants, that doesn't have a lot of wide receiver options right now. We need Wan'Dale to have a game like he had last week. So you might want to move him out towards Moss a little bit more there, We'll see. It depends on how they want to keep him open there. Put him in the slot, then motion him, put him to the outside again during the plays. Do what you got to do.
Yeah. Try to confuse that defense. That's what we had to.
Yeah, and Ace of Spades brings up a very good point, saying he said hard to believe Daniel Jones and the Colts put 29 on them in week 2. I mean, that's been the one game that you go, whoa, like they put some points up on them. And they put just enough to win even too. So
I was going to say they won with by a field goal in that game. No,
they won by 1 point, literally 1 point.
Yeah, by a field goal, right? It was at the end.
Pretty
sure if I remember correctly, it was within a minute.
It was, I think, a last minute field goal. But I mean, you look at what they've done. They got, again, that was the second week, I believe. Yeah, week 2 that was. So Titans scored 12 points against the Broncos, 29 points for the Colts, 23 points for the Chargers. This was prior to all the injuries. Just 3 points to the Bengals, and now 17 points to the Eagles. Now, I will say this. I think some of these numbers are a little bit padded because of who they played. Like, let's be honest, the Titans are a really crappy team, and they have the offense of a Pee Wee football team.
Yeah,
the Bengals were not playing good. This is post Joe Burrow being out. The Eagles, we saw what we did against the Eagles at that point. The same 17 points. I wouldn't say the Giants are an elite defense. And then this past week, they gave up negative 10 passing yards to the Jets, and the Jets had 11 points.
I think the Broncos also exposed the Eagles a little bit, because look at what the Eagles were doing before. They put up a lot more points against other teams as well. Look what they did against your Bucks, bro.
Thanks to special teams. They didn't get a special teams touchdown. That's part of it.
I'm just saying. It is part of it.
And like I said, I'm not saying the Browns. I'm not saying the Broncos are trash. I'm not saying they're not a good defense. What I'm just saying, they had a decent schedule to start the year, and you have to look at that when you look at numbers. You can't just be looking at, well, they're second ranked, so they're the second best defense in the NFL automatically. And I'm not saying you're saying that either, but I'm just saying there are people who will say that because they just look at the numbers. You got to look at who they played. They played in the in the games they played here.
They were close in all these games, and two of them they lost within last-minute field goals, and they were very close to being undefeated. And but then again, look how they play against the Jets.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like, we're gonna have to see. I don't know what to think of the Broncos yet. I really don't, because a lot of the schedule they played is kind of iffy. They did hang in there with the Colts, which are like right now one of the hottest teams in the NFL. That's why
I think the second best.
I'm not saying they're BS. I'm just saying I'm not sold on them being an elite defense as some people think that. Because of that. Like, you can only do so many, you can only have so many games where you're getting 9 sacks, like you say. You know what I mean? Like, you can't do that on a regular basis. Like, that's not to be expected. I do think the stats are a little bit bloated for them at that point. We're going to find out on Sunday. We're going to find out legit on Sunday what this team actually is, because the Giants are coming in, I don't want to say playing hot, but they're not exactly playing cold right now. And you win 2 out of the last 3, and you could have won the third one if it wasn't for all the turnovers.
Yeah.
It's there.
It's hard to win the game with 5 turnovers.
So we'll see. And Ace of Spades says Matt Pert on the IR. They're on their third string guard. I don't think Matt Pert is somebody we were scared against facing, though. Not to be rude about it. Let's be honest. He was a lot better since he left the Giants. That's for damn sure. But I don't think we were going, oh, no, Matt Pert. So now I will say, though, think about that. Matt Pert leaves the Giants, becomes part of one of the best offensive lines in football, though. Just saying. Doesn't make us look good. So
we've been at it for a long time.
Exactly. So let's beat a different drum. Keys to victory versus the Broncos.
Dun, dun,
dun, dun, dun, dun, dun, dun, dun, dun. Number 1. This is the offensive line's biggest test. Point blank. This offensive line has to play solid this week for Jaxson Dart to have a shot. Because, again, I said I think the numbers are a little bloated because of who they played so far this year. But that doesn't take away this is a really good pass rush. How elite they're going to be, we'll find out by the end of the year. It's too early to tell 100% there. But they're definitely going to be at a very much above average at the very least. So, this is a test for this Giants offensive line. And we already know, and we'll find out when we do our full injury report tomorrow and find a little more details and stuff. But we do know that we may be with our backup center in Austin Schlopp, and we're going to have to see what happens with JMS, as, he's had the concussion protocol issues all week long there. They're going to have to figure out a way to get it done. And I don't know if it's, putting Manhurts on the line more often to help out.
It might be the move, especially against this tough defensive line.
Yeah. I don't know if it's putting two running backs in the backfield to go on each side of Dart to help him out there. Like, we're going to have to figure something out, guys. Because let's be honest, offensive line has played better since Andrew Thomas came back. But we know that's been an issue overall.
Yeah. Listen, I wouldn't even. I've been calling this being this rough for the past 2 years, but double tight end setup. Like, you put Manhurts in Bellinger, dun 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 dun. Manhurts in the backfield, and then you switch around between that 12, 21 to 22 setup where you have 2 tight ends going back and forth. You put Manhurts as a fullback just to help block in the back. Play around with that. Let's
do what you got to do.
Let's get a little creative and confuse the defense.
Yeah, I mean. I didn't listen. Scatterboo on passing plays may stay back there to pass pro a little more often too, because he's a goddamn aggressive blocker.
Yeah, he's aggressive in a lot of things.
You don't care about his body at all. You can tell he's young and doesn't know the pains that'll come later in life.
Yeah.
I wish I was still that.
He's gonna look like the Water Boy in the next 30 years. Not the Water Boy, but the guy in the stands.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Holmes behind us.
Number 2, our defense needs to stop the run. That's the bigger offensive weapon for these guys there. It's I don't think people are scared of their passing offense as much. But if you can take away the run, that sets up a lot of their pass, and you can go ahead and force them to have to throw the ball more often, that's a weakness. You just took away their bigger side there. And that's an issue with the Giants. I mean, we did very well against Saquon last year, minus a couple of, last week, minus a couple of big runs to start the game in that first drive. We did pretty good against them, I thought. So, I got to give the defense.
We did very good. Listen, he had 3 big plays that turned into 65 yards, but he had like 80 on the day. Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, but I'm saying this is going to be another test for this run defense, and that's been an issue for the Giants, is stopping the run. That's been not been our forte. Not that we've had many fortes the last couple of years, but that's definitely been one of the issues. So we got to get that part of it fixed up. Number 3, the passing attack needs to be quick routes with the occasional deep shot, of course, to keep the defense honest still. Like, we're going to have to get the ball out of Jaxson Dart's hands quick because of this pass rush, because of the fact that we just don't trust this offensive line. Like I said, every so often take that deep shot because, it's almost like people talk about the run game setting up the pass play. Well, yeah, sometimes the short pass sets up the long pass where all of a sudden you chuck it deep and they weren't expecting you, so you didn't do it. So you still got to keep them honest. You still got to go for that every so often. But I think the big key here is, as good as Jaxson Dart's been about feeling the pocket presence, moving around, getting out of trouble, I do think you want to try to get the ball out of his hands a little quickly this week if you can.
Probably the move.
So, number 4, the defense has to get at least 1 turnover to help the offense. Like, let's be honest. Do you trust the Giants offense more or the Broncos defense more?
Broncos defense.
And like I said, we're going to both say the same thing as Giants fans. So what happens when you don't have the upper hand? You need something to help you get the upper hand. And a turnover is something that does.
And it's not a knock on the Giants offense. It's just, I think that the Broncos defense is probably the best side of football.
You could sit there and say that the Giants offense is on the upward swing based on what you see in the last couple weeks with Jaxson Dart. But still that defense, like I said, again, I question the schedule there. But when you're number 2 in the league in the 2 most important categories, you're doing something.
You could also say the Broncos defense is also on a very, very good upswing.
They've been on the upswing for the last 5 years, it feels like. I mean, let's be honest. This has been a good defense for a while. So, and they keep on moving players, adding players, and adjusting things on the fly and still succeeding. So, I got to say that if I was a Bronco fan, I would have a lot of faith in this defense. So as a Giants fan, I want some help against that defense. And I think our defense is going to have to help out a little bit there. It's going to be the turnovers, the big thing. But it's also going to be, don't set the Giants offense up in bad scenarios. Help them get better starting position when they start their drives. Don't stop the Broncos at midfield where all of a sudden the Giants get the ball at the 10-yard line. Like, that's not going to help.
Yeah.
That's the stuff we also got to avoid there.
Guys, Bowen, Daboll, if you're listening, it's okay to get sacks and some turnovers. Please, let's do this. Thanks.
Yeah, I know. I heard Giants Insider in their podcast talking about it's going to be a coming out party for Abdul Carter that they're hoping. I feel like I've been hearing that from people every week, so I'm not holding my breath.
I was about to say, I feel like that's like one of those cheap shots, like not just knocking anyone that's put it out there, but like you could say about a rookie anything at his position. This is coming out. This is coming out game. This is what he's going to do this time. Like this, let the guy play.
I would love it, but I'm not going to counter it. I think it's just like we told everybody in the beginning. You have to give the kid some time to develop and see what he actually is.
Especially like it's a bold statement to say against a bad offensive line.
Yes.
If you're talking about like when we play Cincinnati, yeah, you can say something like that. Maybe that's a coming out party.
Everybody has a coming out party against Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Number 5, Scattaboo and Tracy need to get going to get the pressure off of Dart. And like we said, this is not just a good pass, defense. It's a good defense overall. They're also very good against the run. But I really think that that's going to be a key to helping Jaxson Dart out. And not just because it's the cop-out things. I know it kind of is to a degree, let's be honest. Oh, well, the defense, I mean, the rushing game has to help hit the defense and set up the pass and blah, blah, blah. Like, that's a very cliche thing to say. But the big thing is how we run the ball. Yes. Scatterboo knocking into guys like a bowling ball is going to help because these guys are going to be a little bruised up and tired of being hit by the end of the game, which not just frees up bigger plays for him as he keeps hitting into them, but it's going to wear these guys out faster, and it's going to help out Jaxson Dart.
Also down the road, like if you go back and forth, set up the two guys in the backfield, and you have Tracy back there, or a finesse guy that's a little shifty and faster, like it's going to set him up too, because these guys are going to get tired of getting hit, and now you put a guy that's a little faster and that can move a little, not as stiff. And he's also not a torpedo coming at you.
Yeah.
But yeah, a little more agile to get out of the way. And these guys are already tired from getting banged up. They're not going to move as fast to stop a guy like Tracy.
Yep. It's like I said, I'm hoping that's what happens. That's for damn sure. The last one, number 6. The Giants need to play a quick, clean game.
Stop the turnovers, for the love of God. Stop, not the turnovers, but the penalties. The penalties.
Stop with the turnovers even too. Like we can't have 5 turnovers on 5 straight drives. Like you're not going to beat this team if you're giving them yards and penalties and you're giving them the ball with turnovers. You're not going to, flat out.
No.
So play a good, quick, clean game. That's all it is. And then just run the ball, quick plays, and quick passing plays. And I honestly think there's a path to victory here, guys.
It's not a question.
Yeah. Do I expect to win? No. I'm going to be very frank with you guys. The Broncos are the better team, but it's not unreasonable to sit there and say there's a path to victory, both because I'm looking at the suspect schedule that Broncos team has started up against so far, and I'm questioning some stuff there. But I'm also saying the Giants are coming into here with momentum.
They are. Because, listen, at the beginning of the year, when we went through the first 6 games, we thought we were going to be like kind of where we were. As right now, first 6 games. Right? Did we think we were going to beat Philadelphia? Yeah, the first meeting. No.
Yeah. We thought we were going to be
2 and 3, 3 and 3. It's like 2 and 3 spot. Yeah.
Well, 2 and 4. But I'm saying we thought we were going to be 3 and 3.
Yeah.
And Deb brings out the key point. She said, "I think the team that scores the most points will win the game." And that's
fair. We get to see it.
But yeah, I mean, it's there. But I think, like I said, I think there's the path. I just don't think we will win, but the path is there. We'll go over.
We didn't think we were going to beat the Chargers. We didn't think we were going to beat the Eagles. Yeah. I thought we were going to be within the touchdown, but no. Let's take it back. You thought it was assuring. I said let's be cautious.
No, but you thought we'd win. If you had to place money on it, you would have placed the Giants to win.
I would have placed money. I said just be cautious here. It's not a shoo-in.
I'm not saying you said it was a shoo-in, but you and I both thought we would win that game, and we did not, obviously. So I feel like this team is unpredictable at times, and when I mean at times, I mean all times. So like we don't know what to expect, but they're coming in hot. They're coming in hot. And I do want to add this real quick as we're talking about stuff here with this game, because I've heard a lot of fans say this, and it's driving me a little batty. And it makes me think you all need to travel more. Oh, look, they had to come back from England. Guys, that was Sunday. It takes a day or two to get back from that. Like, it's not like, oh my God, it's 2 weeks later and this time change is still messing me up. That's not how it works.
It's also very different over here, and you got England way over here.
Well, keep in mind,
in the middle.
The game was 9:00 in the morning Eastern time, which means it was on their time. Are they at Mountain Time or are they at Mountain Time? So that'd have been 7:00 in the morning. So yes, there was a time difference, and I'm not going to say that. But a week later, you're not affected by a time difference. Guys, I've literally traveled halfway around the world and come back and be fine in a day or two. Like, jet lag happens like the day you land, maybe the day after, depending on what the time difference was exactly. Like I know for me, when I came back from Hawaii, that was like 1 day, and I was good to go again. When I came back from Singapore, that's when it was like, whoa. Took a couple of days to get used to that one. First couple of days of work were rough. I didn't have more days off. I had to go right back to work. So, listen, somebody's got to sell those used tires. It is what it is.
So I got something else. And by the way, Drew, I gotta nail my tire. We need to talk after the program.
Most of my tires have nails as well. What a coincidence. Yeah. You can see one's the match.
I got a vacuum. It's looking right out. Get a plug.
All right, guys. That's going to call it a night for us here. We'll be back again with you guys tomorrow as we go over our injury report and our week 7 picks there. Oh, my God. I can't believe it's in week 7 already.
I know. We're a third of the way through football already.
It's more than a third of the way. We got 7 coming up. So, I mean, you're figuring even 6.
Well, we're in the middle of 6 and 7 of week 18. So
6, 7.
These cool kids, 6, 7.
I know. How bad was that? Like Daboll trying to throw that in a press conference. I gotta say, I didn't know what the hell it meant until he said it either. But
it's because he has younger kids.
I know. Still, it's just like that old guy trying to be cool. Like I'm not going to be cool. I'm old. It is what it is. I don't care. I didn't care about being cool when I was young. It is what it was. Like I didn't care. I was me. Deal.
Yeah. I am who I am.
Rob can attest to this. He's known me long enough, As Anthony, all of a sudden,
Anthony,
our 1999 super chat. I see you all tomorrow. Thanks for the show.
Bro, thanks, bro.
Anthony. Thank you for the support as always, and everybody that's watching, listening, whether you're live on after the fact. Appreciate you guys' support as well. It's we actually got positive things to talk about for once. The Giants are actually doing good. So, I said I see a path to victory. I don't expect it. I am hoping for a victory, and not just because I'm a Giants fan, but because it's nice to have positivity about the Giants for once. And I want to keep it going because, listen, if we win this game, hypothetically, we've won 3 out of the last 4 and should have won the 4th.
Correct. And listen, at the end of the day, too, I mean, Jay's not here. Can't even go that far.
Anthony, let Jay know next time he's tomorrow when he's on with us. You can tell him. Rob said it.
Our stats are based off the whole year, right? But Dart's played half those games. And if you take those stats apart, the team's played way better in those 3 games than the first 3 games. Grant, we had the offense to put up 40 points that 1 week, but let's face it, I think they put up like 55 points overall. Compared to Dart playing. Listen, the whole team is rallying behind Dart, and it's definitely been a momentum in the right direction. So, any given Sunday, we're in this listen, we can still
we're in this together. You're about to say it.
We're in this together. Let's play some nitty gritty football because that's what the Broncos do.
Yes, they do. They do a very un-Sean Payton-like team. Like, instead of being offensive juggernauts, they're defensive juggernauts. They run the ball. It is what it is. That's why he's a good coach. That's why it's a tough matchup there. So, like I said, guys, we'll be back though tomorrow with our injury report for the game. Also going over any final notes and, of course, our week 7 picks there. Appreciate you guys for listening, watching as always. As always, we are live every Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern time. Also along with game day coverage there as well for play-by-play and also post-game coverage there on, of course, YouTube, the preferred platform, along with Facebook, Twitter /X, Twitch, and, of course, Rob's favorite, LinkedIn profile. And, of course, as always, we're available the next day on all the audio podcast platforms as well. Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Pandora, all the big ones there. If you haven't already, guys, hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit that share button. Appreciate you guys for watching, participating, and as always, Giants fans,
go Jevon!
Go Jevon!
Jevon, let's win! We got this.
Thanks for listening to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. We appreciate your support.
Thanks so much.
Please, I'm